it has deep fissure, fissura mediana anterior. That is number one. Posteriorly, not so deep, sulcus, groove, that is a groove, sulcus medianus posterior. The same, we have groove in place where posterior root insert into the spinal cord, that is number three, sulcus posterolaterales, and anterolateral groove in place where anterior root leaves spinal cord, number four, sulcus anterolaterales. Anterior root joined with posterior root. And we receive trunk of the spinal neck. In place between sulcus posterolaterales and sulcus medianus posterior, we have small groove, that is number five. Here and here it is the same. That is sulcus intermedius posterior. This groove present only in upper 12 segments of the spinal cord. Number six, that is radix posterior root. Number seven, that is a spinal ganglion. Number eight, anterior root. And number nine, trunk of the spinal nerve, truncus nervi spinalis. That is first diagram, external structure of the spinal cord. Second diagram, internal structure. I think you know that spinal cord consists of gray matter and white matter. What is the differences between them except color?
The neurons are
Yes, bodies of neurons in gray matter and processes of neurons in white matter. In central part of the gray matter we can see opening, that is central canal, canalis centralis, central canal, number 10. Gray matter subdivides into three horns. Posterior horn, that is number 11, cornu posterior. Lateral horn, number 12, cornu lateralis. And anterior horn, cornu anterior, number 13. Lateral horn is present only in segments from C8 till lumbar 3. Only in these segments we can see lateral horn. In all another segments, for example, if we cut spinal cord at the level of C5, we will see only posterior horn and anterior horn. Lateral horn is absent at the level of all another segments except CH till L3. Now, white matter. White matter subdivides into three funiculus. Funiculus posterior funiculus, what is the number? 14, yes? 14, that is space between sulcus medianus posterior and the posterior root. All of this space, that is funiculus posterior. Number 15, that is funiculus lateralis, that is space between posterior root and anterior root. And last funiculus, number 16, that is space between fissura mediana anterior from here till here, that is funiculus anterior. Gray matter, that is the bodies of neurons, and these neurons combined into the nuclei. You need to know names of these nuclei and functions of them. For example, on the apex of posterior horn we have substantia gelatinosa, gelatinous substance, substantia gelatinosa, letter A. In middle part of posterior horn, that is nuclei proprii, letter B. Substantia gelatinosa, that is tactile sensitivity and feeling of stereognosis. Nuclei proprii, that is feeling of temperature and pain. At the base of posterior horn, letter C, that is nucleus thoracicus. And next nucleus, letter D, that is nucleus intermedio medialis. These two nuclei, nucleus thoracicus and nucleus intermedio medialis, both of them, that is unconscious proprioceptive sensitivity. What is proprioceptive? What is it? What is the function? proprioceptive. What is tactile sensitivity? That is feeling of touch. Temperature, it is clear. Pain, the same. What is proprioceptive? Proprio, that is feeling of your own body. For example, now I close my eyes and I know that my hand is in horizontal position. Why? Because receptors in muscles, in ligaments, in capsules of joints, in locomotor system, these receptors send impulses to my brain. That is proprioceptive sensitivity. Clear it is? And conscious proprioceptive sensitivity, that is, these impulses goes to the cortex of brain. Unconscious, that is, goes to cerebellum. These two nuclei send impulses to cerebellum. That is why it is unconscious proprioceptive sensitivity. Next nucleus, that is letter E. Nucleus intermedio lateralis. Nucleus intermedio lateralis, that is vegetative nucleus. It supplies inner organs. And this nucleus present only in segments from CH till lumbar 3 in lateral horn, or the same, this nucleus we can found in segments from S2 to S4, but in these segments lateral horn is absent. That is why nucleus intermedio lateralis in this case present in middle part of gray matter, not in lateral horn but in middle part of the gray matter. And last two nuclei, they are motor nuclei, nucleus motorius medialis and lateralis. That is lateral, and here it is medial nuclei. Nucleus motorius lateralis and nucleus motorius medialis. Both of them are motor and they supply striated muscles. They are nuclei of gray matter and their functions. Now, white matter. White matter, that is processes of neurons. And these processes makes two types of connection with brain. Ascending tracts, which conduct sensory impulses to brain, and from brain motor impulses descend to spinal cord. That is two-way connection between spinal cord and brain. And in posterior funiculus we have two fascicles, fasciculus gracilis medially and fasciculus cuneatus laterally. What is last number was 16, that is why 17, that is fasciculus gracilis, and 18, that is fasciculus cuneatus. And between them we can see sulcus intermedius posterior. This groove is separate fasciculus gracilis, which is medially, and fasciculus cuneatus, which is laterally. Both of them conduct conscious proprioceptive sensitivity and feeling of stereognosis. Stereognosis, that is possibility to recognize subjects with the help of touch. For example, you can take anything in your case, in your bag, with the help of touch. You can recognize what is it. Is it key or pen or pencil or mobile phone with the help of touch? Yes, it is not so problem for you, for everybody. That is two fascicles, fasciculus gracilis and fasciculus cuneatus. They are ascending tracts. In lateral funiculus, 1, 2, 3 ascending tracts in lateral funiculus. They are number 19 and 20. They are tractus spinocerebellaris posterior, number 19, and tractus spinocerebellaris anterior, that is number 20. Both of them conduct unconscious proprioceptive sensitivity, and posterior tract, it forms with the help of axons which start from nucleus thoracicus at the same side. For example, that is nucleus thoracicus on the right side, and tractus spinocerebellaris posterior on the right side, and anterior tract forms with the help of nucleus intermedio medialis from opposite side. From here, axons goes to opposite side and goes to this tract, and from here continues to cerebellum. That is why tractus spinocerebellaris posterior forms with the help of axons of nucleus thoracicus at the same side, and spinocerebellaris anterior, that is axons of nucleus intermedio medialis from opposite side, and both of them conduct unconscious proprioceptive sensivity. Number 21. Tractus spinothalamicus lateralis. This tract in dorsal part conduct feeling of temperature, in ventral part conduct feeling of pain, and this tract forms with the help of nuclei proprii from opposite side. From here it is axons goes to opposite side and forms here it is spinothalamicus lateralis and goes to brain. That is ascending tract. Last ascending tract we can found in anterior funiculus. That is tractus spinothalamicus anterior, number 22. It is in anterior funiculus, and this tract, that is axons of substantia gelatinosa from opposite side, and its conduct feeling of touch. Now descending tracts. In lateral funiculus we can see tractus cortica spinalis lateralis, number 23. This tract, tractus cortica spinalis lateralis, it's conduct voluntary motor impulses from cortex of brain to motor nuclei in anterior horn of the spinal cord. Voluntary motor impulses. Next, number 24, tractus rubra spinalis. Rubra spinalis, it starts from red nucleus rubra in midbrain. And this tract is very important tract in extrapyramidal system, that is involuntary coordination of movements, automatic movements. For example, walking. When you walk, you don't think about balance, about those how to make next step. You think about human anatomy, about whether you can write something in your mobile, send SMS and something else. You don't think about next step, that is automatic movements. And in this case, a very important tract, that is tractus rubra spinalis, which conduct motor impulses to motor nuclei. Next, tractus alliva spinalis, number 25, alliva spinalis. It starts from nucleus allivaris in medulla oblongata, and it participates in involuntary coordination of movements. In anterior funiculus, we have 4 descending tracts. 26, here it is 27, here it is 20H, and 29. 26. This tract is near of fissura mediana anterior. It is tractus tectospinalis. It starts from quadrigeminal colliculus of midbrain, and it participates in protection from strong visual or auditory stimuli. It is involuntary motor impulses. Next, number 27, tractus cortica spinalis anterior. That is the same like 23. 23, that is cortica spinalis lateralis, and 27, cortica spinalis anterior. Both of them start from brain cortex, and both of them are voluntary motor, they conduct voluntary motor impulses. Next, number 20H, tractus vestibulospinalis. Vestibulospinalis start from vestibular nuclei of rhombencephalon and participate in balance and involuntary coordination of movements. And last tract, number 29, that is tractus reticulospinalis. Start from nuclei of reticular formation of the brain stem and finished in motor nuclei of anterior horn. This tract participate in tone of muscles and involuntary coordination of movements. That is why only two voluntary tracts, cortica spinalis lateralis and cortica spinalis anterior. All another tracts are involuntary. Maybe in your manual you will see tractus spinotectalis. If it is present, not so important, it's also conduct unconscious proprioceptive stimuli the same like these two tracts, but both of them, number 19 and number 20, conduct impulses to cerebellum. Spinotectalis conducts these impulses in unconscious proprioceptive impulses to midbrain. Maybe the same you found fasciculus longitudinalis medialis, but the same they not so important in medulla, in spinal cord. They present in medulla oblongata, in pons, in midbrain, and we will speak a lot about these fascicles in brain. In spinal cord, only in upper cervical segments we can see fasciculus longitudinalis medialis. They are descending tracts. They participate in coordination of movements of eyes with movements of neck and head. It is important in, for example, if I see in front from me, and now I move my head, but I continue to see in front from me. Critis, then I move my head in opposite side, but continues to see forward. Critis, I change position of my head and neck, but my eyes look forward always. And in this case, necessary to together work muscles of the eye and muscles of the neck. And these fascicles participate in this function. They combine together motor nuclei of cranial nerves, 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 11th cranial nerves, together with muscles of the neck. That is upper cervical segments. But in spinal cord it is not so important. That is why I draw diagram without fascicles, fasciculus longitudinalis medialis, and without tractus spinotectalis. Not so important for you. And last diagram, that is a reflex arc. That is spinal cord. Posterior root with spinal ganglion, anterior root. It is spinal nerve. And reflex arc start from receptor in tissues, that is receptor, and from here sensory fibers goes to spinal ganglion, and in spinal ganglion we have fast sensory neuron, that is pseudounipolar neuron. One process which subdivides into peripheral, which goes to receptor, and central. Central process goes to spinal cord, finished in second internuncial neuron, number 2. Axon of this neuron goes to motor neuron in anterior horn, that is third neuron, and axon of the third neuron of motor neuron pass through anterior root, spinal nerve, and finish in striated muscles, that is effector. First structure, that is receptor, then first sensory neuron in spinal ganglion, internuncial neuron in posterior horn, motor neuron in anterior horn, and effector, that is striated muscles. That is reflex arc, and these diagrams the same you need to draw in classes, and in final exams the same. One again, first diagram, that is external structure. Second diagram, nuclei of gray matter and white matter, names of tracts and names of functions of these tracts. And last diagram, that is reflex arc. What we can see here is that is a spinal cord. That is a spinal cord. It is should be. That is end of the spinal cord. Should be conus medullaris. Conus. Just a moment. Look here, that is conus medullaris, medullary cone, that is end of the spinal cord. A continuation of pia mater, that is filum terminale, and all another fibers, that is roots of the spinal nerves, which descend into the vertebral canal and leaves vertebral canal through corresponding openings. That is cauda equina. What is it? Who know what is this tissue? That is dura mater, that is hard meanings, and dura mater. Outside from dura mater, that is vertebral canal, and in space between dura mater and vertebral canal we have epidural space, and this epidural space, what is there? Fat tissue and internal vertebral plexus, venous plexus and fat in space between dura mater and vertebral canal, epidural space. Next meanings, that is arachnoidea. It is difficult to see. Arachnoidea, and between dura mater and arachnoidea very thin space, subdural space, and between arachnoidea and pia mater fused with the spinal cord, and space between arachnoidea and pia mater, that is subarachnoid space, where cerebrospinal fluid take place. Expanding or dilation of subarachnoid space, that is cisterna terminalis, and dilation of central canal, that is the central canal. Look here, that is spinal cord, Here it is canalis centralis, central canal, and in lower part of the central canal we have dilation, that is ventriculus terminalis, terminal ventricle. Here it is, and that is arachnoidea. Here it is arachnoidea. Here it is pia mater. Here pia mater, and that is filum terminale. And this space, subarachnoid space in lower part, that is dilation of subarachnoid space, that is cisterna terminalis. Here it is ventriculus terminalis. Here it is cisterna terminalis. Both of them, central canal with ventricle and subarachnoid space with cisterna. Here and here cerebrospinal fluid take place. Your questions?
Pia mater is connected.
Yes, with vessels.
So, and in the what you call the lateral horn.
Yes.
In both sides, they are present in only these two, or just?
Yes. Every all of this structure that is symmetrical. Here it is the same. We have nucleus intermedio lateralis, lateral horn. Everything is in both sides.
No.
So from S2 to S4 also?
Is only present in S2 to S4 or lateral?
Okay. If we draw in sacral department, if we draw spinal cord in sacral department, we will see. Look here, that is gray matter, posterior horn, anterior horn. Here it is nucleus intermedio lateralis at the level of S2 to S4. It is not in horn, but it's present or in segments from S2 to S4. Clear it is. There is no lateral horn, but this nucleus is present in middle part of gray matter, we have nucleus intermediolaterales. Here it is in sacral department, it is parasympathetic nucleus. In thoracolumbar department, from CH till lumbar 3, that is sympathetic nucleus. That is differences in function. In this nucleus in thoracolumbar department has name nucleus intermediolaterales. Old name of this nucleus at the level of S2, S4, the same nucleus intermediolaterales, but new name of this nucleus is nucleus parasympathicus sacralis. That is why that is the same nucleus, but yes, it received new name in sacral department because it is parasympathetic. That is why new name of this nucleus, nucleus parasympathicus sacralis, because it is parasympathetic. Today we will speak a lot about these two nuclei at the end of December, when we will speak about vegetative nervous system. Today only name. If today you will answer nucleus parasympathicus or nucleus intermediolaterales, that is enough today. Today that is enough. In December you will know another name of this nucleus, nucleus parasympathicus sacralis. This is all.